Hey, let me ask you something. How many times have you found yourself chasing validation, over-explaining your worth, or feeling invisible despite all the effort you put in? You've worked so hard, put in the hours, shown up, and given your best. Yet somehow, it feels like people either overlook you or take you for granted. You might feel like you're doing everything right, but the respect you deserve never seems to come. Sound familiar? Here's a truth that's hard to swallow, but absolutely essential. You don't need to plead for respect. You are inherently deserving of it. It might seem like the world is constantly asking you to shout louder, perform more, or hustle endlessly to get the recognition you crave. But here's the thing. Respect isn't earned through noise or grand gestures. It's earned through a quiet, unshakable strength that cannot be ignored. Not because you demand it, but because it's undeniable. This is the key. You can command respect without uttering a word. There's a subtle, almost invisible force within you that doesn't rely on external approval or applause. It's the power of silent confidence, a kind of influence that doesn't need to be broadcasted. This is about moving through life with an unshakable presence, where people respect you not because you ask for it, but because you've shown your worth in how you act, how you show up, and how you carry yourself. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The same applies to respect. When you stop seeking validation from others, you begin to attract respect naturally. Respect, like wealth, isn't something you chase. It's something that flows to you when you cultivate it within yourself. The problem is, too many people believe respect must be earned through loud declarations or forceful actions. They think they have to prove their worth with every move they make, but true respect is earned in silence. It's earned by showing up consistently, maintaining boundaries, and standing firm without needing to justify or explain yourself. Here's the truth. You don't have to fight for respect. You don't have to argue for it or chase it. Instead, become the kind of person who is inherently respected. Let your actions, mindset, and unshakable sense of self do the talking. Think about the most powerful people you admire, the ones who inspire respect effortlessly. Do they ask for it? They embody it. They let their actions speak for them. When you do this, you create a presence that cannot be ignored. And this is what I'm going to share with you today. I'll walk you through 7 silent actions that will help you become the person others can't ignore. Not because you force it, but because your silent power is undeniable. By the end of this, you'll stop waiting for validation and start attracting the respect you deserve. You'll stop chasing attention and begin commanding it in subtle yet powerful ways. Are you ready to stop asking for respect and start embodying it? To show up in life with an unstoppable force that makes others recognize your true value, no explanations needed. Let's dive in. Number 1. Own your value with quiet confidence. One of the most profound shifts you can make in life is understanding your worth and owning it unapologetically. When you truly grasp the depth of your value, something incredible happens. You stop seeking validation. You stop trying to prove yourself to others because you no longer need their approval to feel worthy. Instead, your value radiates from within, becoming a silent force that others naturally sense. This is the power of quiet confidence. True confidence isn't loud, boastful, or dependent on constant validation. It's a steady, unshakable presence that speaks volumes without uttering a word. Confidence is felt in your actions, your energy, and your ability to stand firm in your beliefs, regardless of external opinions. It's something others notice, not something you need to announce. Think about this. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. Your value is intrinsic, like gold that needs no glitter to prove its worth. Gold doesn't shout or demand attention, it simply is. And so are you. Your value isn't defined by someone else's recognition. You carry it with you, whether or not others acknowledge it. So why do we often shrink ourselves for others? Why do we dim our light in hopes of fitting in or gaining approval? We've all been there, trying to meet someone else's expectations, seeking validation, or adjusting our behavior to be liked, accepted, or respected. But here's the truth. You don't need to shrink for anyone. When you own your value, you become the embodiment of your worth. It's not about shouting your greatness or telling everyone how amazing you are. It's about standing tall in your own skin, trusting that you are enough just as you are. The next time someone underestimates you or doubts your abilities, don't react. Don't rush to defend yourself, explain your value, or over-justify your actions. Instead, do nothing. Simply hold your ground and trust your worth. There is immense power in quiet resistance, in knowing you don't need to argue for your value. It's already present in who you are, how you act, and how you carry yourself. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In the same way, when others underestimate or undervalue you, the best response isn't to defend yourself. It's to simply continue being the person you know yourself to be. Let your actions speak louder than words. Let your calm confidence create a ripple of respect. You don't need to fight for your worth. You simply need to embody it. When you stay centered in your value and hold yourself in high regard, others will begin to reflect that respect back to you. They'll start treating you the way you treat yourself, with dignity, reverence, and recognition of your true worth. Number 2, be the person who shows up without drama. In a world saturated with emotional outbursts, constant complaints, and unnecessary conflicts, choosing to show up without drama is a powerful way to stand out. Drama might grab attention momentarily, but it erodes trust, disrupts harmony, and diverts focus from what truly matters. To be the person who remains composed in a chaotic world is to embody a rare and valuable strength, one that garners respect, fosters stability, and inspires those around you. Being drama-free does not mean suppressing your emotions or avoiding difficult conversations. Instead, it is about managing your reactions and choosing to act thoughtfully rather than impulsively. It's about being the calm in the storm, the voice of reason when emotions are running high, and the steady presence people can rely on. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By mastering your reactions, you not only protect your inner peace, but also create an atmosphere where meaningful solutions can emerge. People who thrive on drama often seek validation through attention, even if that attention comes at the cost of harmony. They escalate situations unnecessarily, drawing others into their chaos. But when you choose to show up without drama, you refuse to play that game. You prioritize clarity, solutions, and mutual respect over blame, emotional manipulation, or futile arguments. This doesn't mean you ignore issues. Rather, you address them calmly and constructively, focusing on resolution rather than escalation. Imagine the strength and respect you command when you walk into a room and people know they can count on you to stay grounded. You're the one who listens attentively, speaks thoughtfully, and acts decisively. This quiet confidence and self-control make you a magnet for trust and admiration. People are drawn to those who can navigate challenges without creating unnecessary turbulence. Living without drama also means setting healthy boundaries. It's about recognizing when a situation or relationship is pulling you into unnecessary conflict and choosing to step back. Walking away from toxic dynamics or refusing to engage in petty disputes isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of self-respect and emotional maturity. You understand that your energy is finite, and you won't waste it on things that don't align with your values or goals. Furthermore, being drama-free enhances your ability to focus on what truly matters. You're not distracted by fleeting frustrations or trivial disagreements. Instead, you channel your energy into personal growth, meaningful relationships, and purposeful actions. Over time, this creates a compounding effect of success and inner peace. The more you practice restraint and composure, the stronger and more centered you become. This mindset is deeply aligned with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes the importance of controlling what you can, your thoughts, actions, and attitudes, while accepting what you cannot. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By internalizing this wisdom, you cultivate resilience and the ability to rise above the noise and distractions of everyday life. To practice showing up without drama, start by reflecting on your triggers. What situations or people tend to draw you into unnecessary conflict? Identify these patterns and commit to responding differently. When faced with a challenging situation, take a moment to pause before reacting. Ask yourself if your response will add value or simply fuel the fire. Choose words and actions that reflect your values and maintain your dignity. In doing so, you not only elevate your own life, but also set an example for others. People will notice your ability to stay calm under pressure, your refusal to engage in petty disputes, and your focus on solutions rather than problems. Over time, this quiet strength will command the kind of respect and admiration that drama could never achieve. So, strive to be the person who shows up without drama, not because it's easy, but because it's powerful. In a noisy world, your calmness will be your strength, your clarity will be your compass, and your actions will speak louder than any words ever could. Number 3, own your time. Like it's your most precious asset. Own your time as though it's the most precious asset you possess, because in reality, it truly is. Time is unlike material possessions or wealth. Once it's gone, it cannot be replaced. Many of us tend to treat time as if it's abundant, something that will always be there, allowing it to slip away unnoticed. This is a grave mistake, as every moment we waste reduces the opportunities for growth, fulfillment, and meaning in our lives. We live in a world filled with distractions, endless obligations, and external pressures that constantly vie for our attention. Social media, societal expectations, and the pursuit of validation can pull us in multiple directions, leaving us feeling overwhelmed, unfulfilled, and disconnected. In this chaos, we often forget that our time is the one resource we cannot replenish. The Stoic philosophers, particularly Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, deeply understood the value of time. Seneca, for example, emphasized, "We are more concerned with having than with being," reminding us that chasing external possessions or fleeting achievements won't bring lasting fulfillment. Marcus Aurelius, in his own reflections, wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." These reminders serve as poignant reflections on how fragile and limited our time truly is. They urge us to take ownership of our time, recognizing that it's not something to be squandered, but something to be deeply respected. When we own our time, we take responsibility for how we allocate it, ensuring that we spend it on what truly matters: our growth, our well-being, and our relationships. This doesn't mean becoming a hermit or cutting off all external connections, but rather becoming more intentional about where we focus our energy. The key lies in discernment, deciding what aligns with our values and purpose, and letting go of distractions, obligations, or commitments that don't serve us. When we allow ourselves to be pulled in multiple directions, we lose our sense of focus and purpose. We become reactive rather than proactive, and our time is spent on things that offer little to no value in the long run. Think about this for a moment. How often do you find yourself wasting time scrolling through social media, responding to trivial messages, or chasing approval from others? How much of your time is spent on activities that don't contribute to your growth or peace of mind? When we fail to take ownership of our time, we allow others to dictate our priorities and values. We end up living life according to the expectations of others rather than in alignment with who we truly are. This is a recipe for frustration and discontent. The Stoic principle of memento mori, remember that you will die, is a constant reminder of the impermanence of life. It encourages us to reflect on how fleeting our time is and to act accordingly. When we internalize this truth, we begin to see time not as something to waste, but as something to invest wisely. By recognizing that time is our most valuable resource, we can make intentional choices that lead to meaningful and fulfilling lives. Owning your time means setting boundaries around how you spend it. It means saying no to distractions, to things that don't contribute to your goals, and to commitments that drain your energy. When you're intentional with your time, you cultivate self-discipline and clarity. You begin to understand that saying no to things that don't serve your growth is saying yes to your values, purpose, and well-being. This is not selfishness, it's self-respect. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. By recognizing that you control your thoughts and responses, you also realize that you have control over how you allocate your time. No one else can determine how you spend your hours. It's a personal responsibility, one that, when embraced, brings peace and fulfillment. When you take control of your time, you begin to create space for deeper self-reflection and growth. You prioritize activities that nurture your well-being, whether it's cultivating meaningful relationships, pursuing your passions, or dedicating time to self-care. You become more present and intentional in your actions, ensuring that your efforts are directed toward what truly matters. In contrast, when you allow time to be dictated by external factors, you risk living a life of regret, constantly wondering what could have been if only you had taken ownership of your time. The people who respect and value their own time tend to attract the same from others. When you demonstrate that your time is precious, others begin to respect your boundaries, understanding that your attention isn't something to be taken for granted. This creates healthier relationships and interactions. You teach others how to treat you by respecting your own time, energy, and priorities. Owning your time doesn't mean abandoning the world. It means stepping into your power and creating a life that reflects your values and aspirations. It's about living intentionally and making choices that align with your long-term vision. When you live this way, you become the master of your own destiny, living in alignment with your purpose. Number 4, move in silence. Let success be your noise. In a world where noise and distraction are constant companions, the art of moving in silence has become a rare and valuable skill. We live in an age where self-promotion, validation, and constant attention seem to dominate every sphere of life. Social media, the thirst for recognition, and the pressure to display progress have created a culture where shouting for attention has become the norm. But there is a quiet strength in moving in silence, allowing your actions to speak louder than any words or outward displays of achievement. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, understood the power of silence and discretion. Epictetus famously taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This philosophy of silence and restraint emphasizes the importance of controlling our desire for constant validation and letting our actions define us. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflects, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These insights highlight that true power comes not from seeking external validation, but from mastering your own thoughts and actions, allowing your results to speak for themselves. In moving in silence, you create a space where your efforts remain genuine, untainted by the need for approval or attention. The temptation to announce every step of your journey, to showcase progress to others, is a distraction that often prevents real growth. When you strive for constant external validation, you often risk diluting the authenticity of your endeavors. You may find yourself more focused on how others perceive your progress rather than the actual quality of your work. The noise of others' expectations can easily drown out your own internal compass, causing you to lose sight of what truly matters. Moving in silence is not about secrecy or avoiding accountability, but about creating an environment where you are free from the distractions of others' opinions. It's about focusing on what is within your control, your actions, your effort, and your discipline, and letting those things lead to success. The world rewards results, not noise. Success that is built on consistent, deliberate effort often shines brightest when not burdened by the need for attention or validation. When you move in silence, you eliminate the pressure to conform to others' expectations of what success should look like. Instead, you define your own version of success, one that is deeply rooted in personal growth, purpose, and values. In doing so, you protect the integrity of your work, your ambitions, and your sense of self-worth. The pitfalls of seeking attention and validation. In the age of social media, we are conditioned to believe that attention equals success. Platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook have created a culture where likes, comments, and shares often become the metrics by which we gauge our progress. But seeking attention for its own sake can be a dangerous trap. When you prioritize external validation, you often compromise your integrity, chasing superficial markers of success instead of focusing on the deeper, more meaningful work that leads to lasting achievement. Seeking constant validation also feeds the ego, making you dependent on the opinions of others to feel worthy or successful. This dependency strips you of the ability to find fulfillment within yourself. The Stoics taught that the only source of true freedom and happiness is self-mastery, controlling your own thoughts and reactions, and understanding that external circumstances are beyond your control. By focusing on the opinions of others, you lose this sense of autonomy. The need for constant attention becomes a form of captivity, where your worth is tied to how many people applaud you or how much praise you receive. Moreover, when you are constantly chasing attention, you risk overstating your achievements, fabricating narratives, or seeking shortcuts to validate your efforts. The focus shifts from genuine progress to impression management. You become more concerned with appearing successful than actually doing the work necessary to succeed. In this environment, your actions may lose authenticity, and the quality of your work may suffer. The noise of external validation clouds your judgment, making it harder to distinguish between what truly matters and what merely appears important. The power of moving in silence. Moving in silence requires discipline and self-awareness. It is about understanding that your worth is not determined by how many people acknowledge your efforts. Instead, it is grounded in the integrity of your actions and the purpose behind them. When you embrace silence, you create space for self-reflection and focus. You become less concerned with external approval and more focused on internal growth. Moving in silence also means setting boundaries. You do not need to share every detail of your journey, every step of your progress, or every minor accomplishment. There is a wisdom in discretion. Some of the most impactful achievements are those that are quietly pursued, without the need for public acknowledgement. The Stoic practice of memento mori, remembering that life is fleeting, serves as a constant reminder of the limited time we have. By moving in silence, you reflect on your actions and efforts with greater clarity, ensuring they are aligned with your values and long-term goals. When you move in silence, you allow the quality of your work to speak for itself. Results become your noise. The subtlety of your actions, carried out with purpose and intention, creates a ripple effect that others will notice over time. You avoid the distractions of seeking attention or applause, and instead, you let your progress accumulate quietly and steadily. This approach builds lasting value, both for yourself and those around you. Success built on silence versus noise. Success built on silence has depth and durability. It is the kind of success that endures because it is rooted in genuine effort, persistence, and commitment. When you work quietly, away from the demands of recognition, you develop resilience. You learn to trust the process rather than immediate outcomes. Success achieved in silence is not fleeting, it is sustainable. In contrast, success built on noise is often shallow and transient. It may appear impressive in the short term, but without substance, it is unlikely to stand the test of time. The applause and attention you receive for noise-driven success may fade as quickly as they come. What remains are the echoes of hollow achievements that never truly contributed to your growth. The Stoic philosopher Seneca understood this well. He wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The craving for external validation, applause, and attention is a form of poverty, the belief that you lack something essential. Moving in silence allows you to avoid this trap. You recognize that your value is inherent, and that true success is not measured by the quantity of external recognition, but by the quality of your character and efforts. The benefits of moving in silence: self-reliance and confidence. When you move in silence, you cultivate self-reliance. You no longer depend on others to validate your worth. Your confidence becomes rooted in your own self-mastery, and you trust your efforts even when they are not acknowledged immediately. Avoiding comparison. In a world dominated by comparison, moving in silence shields you from the noise of social comparison. You focus on your own journey, unhindered by the need to compare yourself to others or measure your success against theirs. Freedom from distraction. Attention-seeking often leads to distractions. By moving in silence, you avoid the constant pull of external validation and remain focused on your goals, free from the noise of distractions. Genuine connections. Success achieved quietly tends to attract genuine relationships. When people recognize your work without the need for attention-seeking, they respect you for your values and character, not for what you appear to be. Long-term growth. Moving in silence allows for sustained growth. You are less likely to burn out chasing immediate validation, and more likely to achieve lasting results because your efforts are consistent and authentic. Conclusion. Moving in silence isn't about hiding away from the world or withdrawing from it. It's about mastering your own thoughts, actions, and intentions. It's about allowing your efforts to speak louder than any words ever could. True success isn't measured by the noise you make, but by the impact you create. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people who know their worth and let their actions speak for themselves. Move in silence and let your success be your noise. Number 5. Walk away when necessary. Your absence will be felt. Walk away when necessary. Your absence will be felt. This might sound counterintuitive, especially in a world that often encourages us to stay engaged, fight for attention, or constantly prove our value. However, the reality is that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply walk away. Walking away isn't about giving up or admitting defeat. It's an act of strength, clarity, and self-respect. It's about recognizing that some people, situations, or environments no longer serve your growth, well-being, or peace of mind. It's about realizing that your energy, time, and presence are valuable, and that you have the right to protect them from being depleted by things that no longer align with your values. In a society driven by distractions, constant validation, and the need to prove our worth, walking away may seem counterproductive. But Stoic wisdom teaches us that detachment from what no longer serves us is not a sign of, but a source of true power. The Stoic philosophers, especially figures like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, emphasized the importance of knowing what is within our control and what is not. They taught that while we cannot control the actions and thoughts of others, we have complete authority over our own reactions and choices. This understanding empowers us to detach from situations, relationships, or environments that no longer contribute to our well-being. Detachment, in this context, doesn't mean indifference or apathy. Instead, it's about maintaining a clear awareness of what truly matters and removing yourself from anything that detracts from your growth or peace. By walking away, you reclaim your time, energy, and mental space. You no longer allow external circumstances or people to dictate your emotional state or sense of self-worth. Detachment is not about avoidance. It's about creating boundaries that foster your personal development and ensure you are investing your energy in the right places. One of the most powerful Stoic aphorisms comes from Epictetus. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This quote reminds us that while we can't always control what happens around us, we can control our response to those events. When we are no longer drained by situations, relationships, or environments that don't align with our values, we create space for growth and clarity. Walking away is not an admission of defeat, but rather a demonstration of self-respect and empowerment. There are times when staying in a situation, even when it's draining your energy, may feel like the easier path. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a job that no longer fulfills you, or a friendship that has become one-sided. But by continuing to engage, you risk becoming entangled in circumstances that no longer contribute to your well-being. The longer you remain, the more you dilute your energy and mental peace. Stoicism encourages us to prioritize our own peace and well-being above external approval or the desire to remain connected to something that no longer serves us. Walking away doesn't require explanations, apologies, or justifications. It's about recognizing when something is no longer contributing to your growth or peace, and then removing yourself from it with grace. The act of walking away is a statement in itself. It's a declaration that you will no longer tolerate anything that doesn't honor you or align with your purpose. You don't need to prove your worth or beg for recognition. By stepping away, you demonstrate that you respect your own worth and teach others to respect you as well. When you walk away from situations that no longer serve you, it creates a void that cannot be ignored. Your absence will be felt. Others will begin to notice the absence of your energy, contributions, and presence. It's often in the absence of someone that others begin to realize their true value. When you remove yourself from being taken for granted, people begin to see what they've lost. Your energy, time, and contributions carry weight when you are selectively mindful about where you invest them. By walking away, you show others that your presence is a privilege, not a right. This is not to say that you should walk away from every difficult situation or relationship. Life requires effort, and there are times when staying and confronting challenges is necessary. However, there are situations that have become toxic, draining, or misaligned with your values, where walking away is not just an option, it's a necessity. These situations sap your energy, stifle your growth, and hinder your mental peace. Recognizing when to walk away is about knowing when to set boundaries and protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. In walking away, you create space for healthier relationships, more meaningful opportunities, and personal growth. When people see that you are no longer available to be taken for granted, they are often forced to reflect on how they treated you. This reflection can lead to a shift in their behavior and a newfound respect for your boundaries. By choosing to walk away, you send a message that your time, energy, and attention are valuable resources that should be treated with care. The act of walking away isn't about closing doors permanently. It's about creating the space necessary for personal growth and clarity. If something truly matters, it will re-emerge in your life in a way that aligns with your values and vision. When people understand that you respect your own boundaries, they are more likely to respect you in return. In walking away, you are teaching others how to treat you, not through words, but through actions. There will always be moments when people misunderstand or question your absence, but you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your actions will speak for themselves. When you walk away, you demonstrate that your peace, growth, and well-being are non-negotiable. This isn't about seeking attention or validation. Your absence speaks volumes on its own. The power of walking away lies in its silent strength. It's a form of self-respect that commands attention without the need for explanation or justification. It's a quiet revolution where you reclaim your time, energy, and mental space. The impact of walking away is often underestimated, but it creates a ripple effect that others cannot ignore. If you're ready to step away from what no longer serves you and embrace the power of detachment, declare below, "I'll walk away with grace." It's time to reclaim your energy, protect your peace, and show the world that your presence is a privilege, not something to be taken for granted. Number 6. Prioritize self-mastery over external validation. Prioritize self-mastery over external validation. In a world that constantly bombards us with messages of approval, recognition, and external affirmation, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from others. Whether through social media likes, professional accolades, or the admiration of peers, the pursuit of external validation has become a pervasive part of modern life. Yet, true fulfillment, peace, and confidence don't come from what others think of us. They come from mastering ourselves. The Stoic philosophers, particularly Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, understood this deeply, emphasizing that the key to freedom and inner peace lies not in seeking approval from external sources, but in mastering our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. The illusion of external validation. External validation is the belief that our worth is determined by others' opinions, achievements, or circumstances. In the age of social media, this belief has been amplified. We constantly compare ourselves to others, chasing likes, followers, or professional recognition as if they hold the keys to our self-worth. However, the problem with seeking external validation is that it's inherently unstable. Approval from others is fleeting and unpredictable. One moment we might feel on top of the world with positive feedback, only to be brought down by the next wave of indifference or criticism. This inconsistency makes our sense of self-worth fragile as it becomes tethered to the opinions of others. Moreover, when we rely on external validation, we risk living inauthentic lives, driven more by what others think than by what we genuinely value. We become prisoners to the expectations placed upon us, conforming to societal standards, trends, and norms, rather than pursuing our own unique paths. The more we seek validation from outside sources, the more we dilute our authenticity, risking the erosion of our true selves in the pursuit of approval. The Stoic philosophy of self-mastery, Stoicism, teaches us that true freedom and peace come from self-mastery. The Stoic philosophers believed that the only thing we can control is our own mind and reactions. Epictetus, in particular, emphasized the importance of focusing on what is within our control, stating, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means we cannot control others' opinions, outcomes, or circumstances, but we do have full control over our responses, thoughts, and actions. Marcus Aurelius echoes this sentiment when he writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The essence of Stoicism is to cultivate self-discipline, self-awareness, and resilience. When we prioritize self-mastery, we no longer seek external validation to define our worth, because we understand that our worth is inherent and not subject to external circumstances. We become our own authorities, guided by virtue, purpose, and reason. Self-mastery versus external validation. Self-mastery begins with understanding who we are, what we value, and what aligns with our true purpose. When we focus on mastering ourselves, we cultivate the ability to control our thoughts, emotions, and actions. This inner control leads to a deeper sense of peace, confidence, and authenticity. In contrast, seeking external validation often results in a dependence on external approval, leaving us vulnerable to external circumstances and judgments. One of the key aspects of self-mastery is the development of self-awareness. Self-awareness allows us to understand our motivations, our values, and the thoughts that drive our actions. When we are aware of these internal factors, we become less reliant on external validation to affirm our worth. We learn to differentiate between what truly matters to us and what society tells us should matter. With self-awareness, we recognize when external validation becomes a distraction, hindering our growth and preventing us from living according to our true principles. The journey of self-mastery is not about removing ourselves from the world or ignoring the opinions of others, but rather learning how to remain grounded and centered in our values. We still engage with the world, but we do so from a place of authenticity and clarity. When we no longer depend on external validation, we become empowered to pursue our goals and dreams with conviction and purpose. The role of virtue in self-mastery. For the Stoics, self-mastery isn't just about control, it's about cultivating virtue. Virtue, in Stoicism, refers to the development of qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. When we focus on these virtues, we prioritize our internal growth over external recognition. We strive to be the best version of ourselves, not for the approval of others, but because it is what aligns with our values and contributes to our well-being. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflects on the importance of virtue. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This quote highlights that the pursuit of virtue is not a means to gain external recognition, but a way of life. When we embody these virtues, we naturally cultivate respect from others because our actions speak louder than words. We command respect not through seeking approval, but through living in accordance with our principles. In prioritizing virtue, we let go of the need for external validation and instead focus on becoming better versions of ourselves. The pursuit of virtue fosters a sense of inner peace, as we are no longer tethered to external outcomes or validations. We find fulfillment in knowing that we are living according to our values and striving to be the best we can be. Freedom from the validation trap. Seeking external validation often leads to a cycle of dependence where we constantly look for reassurance from others to feel good about ourselves. However, this is an exhausting and never-ending cycle, as external validation is inherently unstable and unpredictable. The freedom that comes from self-mastery is the freedom from this dependency. When we take ownership of our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we free ourselves from the need to seek approval from others. We become self-reliant, grounded in our values, and confident in our abilities. This doesn't mean we disregard feedback or the opinions of others, but rather that we no longer seek validation from them to define our worth. We learn to use external feedback as information, not as affirmation. The Stoics emphasized the concept of memento mori, the practice of reflecting on our mortality to remind ourselves that life is fleeting and uncertain. This practice encourages us to focus on what is within our control, our actions, our growth, and our character, rather than what is beyond our control, such as others' opinions or circumstances. By embracing this mindset, we cultivate a deeper sense of inner strength and freedom. Embracing self-mastery in daily life. Embracing self-mastery requires intentionality and discipline. It means setting clear boundaries around how we seek validation and where we allocate our energy. Self-mastery involves regularly reflecting on our values, our goals, and our progress. It means asking ourselves whether we are living in alignment with who we truly are, or if we are conforming to external pressures. To prioritize self-mastery, we must learn to say no to distractions, comparisons, and external influences that pull us away from our purpose. We must be willing to detach from the need for constant validation and cultivate the confidence to trust our own judgment. Practically, this might involve setting limits on social media use, focusing on personal growth, and choosing to invest time in activities that align with our values. It might mean letting go of relationships or obligations that no longer serve our well-being. Ultimately, self-mastery is about cultivating the strength to act in accordance with our principles, even when external forces tempt us to seek approval from others. Conclusion. In a world that constantly promotes the pursuit of external validation, prioritizing self-mastery is a powerful antidote. The Stoic philosophers teach us that our true power lies within our thoughts, actions, and values, and not in the opinions of others. By mastering ourselves, we become self-reliant, authentic, and resilient. The freedom that comes from self-mastery enables us to live with purpose, peace, and confidence, free from the need for external approval. As Epictetus wisely said, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By prioritizing self-mastery over external validation, we take control of our lives and create a foundation of strength that cannot be shaken by external circumstances or opinions. Number 7. Practice silent generosity. Give without expectation. True generosity doesn't need applause or recognition. It is quiet, unassuming, and given without any expectation of something in return. The real power of generosity lies in giving without attachment to the outcome. When you give freely, without expecting recognition or reciprocity, you demonstrate confidence in your abundance and worth. Your generosity becomes a reflection of who you are, not what you hope to gain. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that. This reminds us that true generosity isn't conditional on how others react. You don't need to demand appreciation or insist on recognition. Instead, stay grounded in your values and continue to give freely. The power of silent generosity. You radiate self-assurance. Giving without expectation shows you're secure in yourself. You create genuine connections. People notice kindness given without strings attached. You build respect. Silent generosity commands admiration through actions, not demands. Take action today. Offer something without expecting anything in return, a helping hand, your time, or advice. Don't keep score or wait for a thank you. Simply give, and notice how it shifts the way others perceive you. If you're ready to give from a place of abundance, type, "I give from abundance" below. Embrace silent generosity and let your actions showcase the strength of your character. Which of these actions resonates with you most? Drop a comment below sharing the action you're committing to today. Don't just read, take action and watch the transformation unfold. Let's build a movement of powerful, confident individuals who know their worth and command respect, not through words, but through their silent, powerful actions. If you're ready to level up, like this post, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and comment, "I'm ready" below. Let's transform together.